Welcome back to Prototype. When last we left, Alex got cancer. Literally. You can see it there. It's wacky sci-fi disease cancer that can be inflicted upon a person and then grows unbelievably fast and appears to be somewhat sentient. But it's still cancer nonetheless. One of the things I like about this game is that it is relatively hard sci-fi. Now that's laughable when you consider what the, icons of hard sci-fi have written. But compared to a lot of video games and stuff, they actually bothered to explain what is going on. And when it is just pure, unexplainable nonsense, they say, we have no idea how this is happening, but it simply is. And leave it at that. Everything else has a vaguely scientific sounding explanation. Like putting too much air in a balloon.
Something strange over there.
We need to check back in with our obstetrician. Is that someone who cures cancer? It's actually a mortician who's helping us out. Knock knock, Dr. Ragland. Let me in. Okay, I'm in trouble because I Spider-Man'd on the door. Whoops. I'll just... This place is completely surrounded with military personnel. Because we know Dr. Ragland is very important. Here we go. I'm innocent again. I'm just this guy. Don't even worry about it. This web of intrigue target that I ate off screen. Oncology is the cancer one. Thank you for picking that up for me. Obstetrician is probably hilariously incorrect in retrospect. Let's begin the mission.
Oh God! Ragland! Ragland!
What's happening to me?
They know you carry the infection. They might be using you to produce an antivirus. If we learn what it's doing, maybe I can find a way to help your biology reject it.
How?
Cut off its food supply.
If I'm gonna get right into those bodies, I'm gonna need some armor.
It was a little unclear from the cutscene what we need to do. But Alex knows. We need to hijack a tank. It's the only suitable escort for a man such as Ragland. But we need to do it in a way that doesn't actually arouse suspicion. That is going to require us to look like a soldier. Here we go. My disguise is perfect.
Target has escaped. Repeat, target has escaped.
Apparently they were searching for me this whole time.
Boys are saying negative here, sir. No kill, no sight.
We're doing a very good job of it, that's for sure. There's a tank. If I get in there, I'll be in trouble. Let's try this thing. I do not have to hijack it. Its driver got out for some reason. And I look like a soldier. So I can just hop right in. Lovely. No one's the wiser that Zeus is now driving around heavily armed. Now we'll just pick up the doctor for our date in style. God, that guy. I knocked something into a pedestrian. He flipped through the air. And the moment he landed, I ran him over with my tank. And I just blew up a personnel carrier. Very unsuspicious act, apparently. Take out another one. Literally doesn't even raise my wanted meter. We know the Blackwater guys are highly unethical So I guess them murdering people in the street is to be expected.
The Penn Station bodies are in a base in Harlem. Let's go.
If you can get me a couple of minutes with those corpses, I think I can get what you need.
I wonder how many times a mortician has to say that. Actually was very interested in studying to be a mortician myself after I watched Reanimator. Not necessarily the best inspiration, but that's the sort of thing that is a very common recruitment into a career path, is enjoying a film. Just ask the entire military, who to this day constantly finances basically all films to funnel people into careers in the military. And some people do the same for careers in science, STEM careers and the like. So, wanting to be a mortician is among the least evil things that could pop into one's head as a result of watching a film. It's a preposterous amount of schooling, though, because you really need to learn how to keep people alive and then sort of reverse engineer what killed them in order to be a good mortician, and that basically requires you to know all means of healing a person. The barrier for entry is through the roof. Anyway, the base where we need to ransack and find some corpses has already been infected.
What is that? Just ignore it. I'll deal with it.
This won't take long. Just give me some time.
So we gotta do a little tower defense for 4 minutes.
They're coming!
4-minute timer. And it ain't joking around. We still don't have our powers. That is the effect of the cancer. We can still punch really hard, but we can't summon our claws, which deal by far the most damage that we could conceivably do. And now we have to do a bunch of combat without our best weapons. What I might have wanted to do here is go to the military bases across the city and actually eat all the military personnel that give you new upgrades for your usage of weaponry. Here's where that sort of thing actually comes in handy. Luckily, grabbing someone and hurling them against the wall is an instant kill.
Move it, Ragnar.
But guns certainly are not. Thankfully, there are guns everywhere. They're extremely plentiful. Many of the guns have splash damage. Given our lack of accuracy, because I haven't gotten any of the upgrades, if we shoot the guys who are attacking the lab wall, we are likely to shoot the lab wall ourselves in the process, dealing as much damage as we are preventing being done. Raglan will call for help anytime the lab wall is being injured, even if it's by me punching it through the bodies that I am murdering. So the machine gun is actually quite good here. Most of the enemies are barely any stronger than a normal human.
Move! We gotta go!
But we got 2 minutes left. Nothing horrible has happened yet. This is actually pretty decent. This mission is pretty hard if you haven't been keeping up with your weapon upgrades, as I certainly have not myself. Just keep those around. Hunters, thankfully, will not go for the lab wall themselves, usually. If we're hanging out near the lab wall, they might hit it in the crossfire. But only the little guys will intentionally attack the wall. And if you're the closest target, even the little guys will ignore the wall and go for you instead. Always important to pick the right target. That's why lock-on always has a slowdown effect, because you're often going to have to, like, switch several targets in a row before you get the lock-on target you want. If it were all in real time, you would never be able to find the right person before they killed you or killed whatever you're trying to protect. In general, guns just don't work great, and they aren't very exciting. We've all played a trillion games where you use guns to kill everybody. This game is supposed to have more exciting options. They will annihilate this wall if they get high enough numbers going. Like that. I was in, like, single-digit numbers. God damn it. But the lab's been breached. No checkpoint. Full 4 minutes. All over again. The last wave is the hardest, of course. I believe the guns keep respawning over the course of the fight. That, or there's just a ton of them. And you're never really at risk of running out, because I've never run out. But as I said when we went into this, when you reload from checkpoint, this whole mission becomes tons easier. The final wave doesn't have nearly as many enemies in it, whilst the earlier waves have significantly more enemies, trivializing what was once a very, very difficult tower defense. 1 second left, objective complete, that's a checkpoint.
Let's get out of here.
We still have to kill everything, but the wall doesn't matter, which makes no sense. But I'll take it. Because, I mean, if Raglan dies at this point, it's still big trouble. But whatever. Somehow he can't die anymore. Got any gas tanks that I can throw around up here? Yes, but everyone was defended from their explosive radius. Just throw pallets of bombs at the hunters. That'll get them out of my way. Alex should just get a job as a forklift. Not even a forklift operator. If you can lift a pallet over your head that effortlessly, you should definitely use it to survive capitalism. Now we have to fight hunters with none of our upgraded attacks. Fortunately, these ones have been exploded many, many times over and are ready to die. The little guy should take 2 hits apiece. It's honestly nice to have this grand melee. I just wish we could have our claws and our hammer fists and all of our cool attacks, instead of having to rely on guns for this long. I barely used the rocket launcher. Its damage output is surprisingly poor. Doesn't even kill the smallest enemies in one hit. But it's great for controlling large groups. Large groups is what we had. Not so much anymore. Get out of there, Doctor.
That's not good.
Back to our tank. That teleport into our tank is much more awkward in the Xbox version, where there's a fairly lengthy loading screen. But they aren't even looking for us at this point, because tentacles are now emerging from the streets, slashing around, keeping the military very busy. It is perhaps suspicious that we're not fighting the tentacles ourselves, but the next tentacle that pops up I will attempt to lock onto. Nothing will happen. We are legitimately not allowed to fight the tentacles. So, we shall run from them. Or die trying, perhaps. Hopefully not that. Beep beep. And a tank traffic jam here. All the action's across the street, fellas. Nothing's happening on the bridge. Damn it indeed. This is certainly a welcome break from the stealth adjacent gameplay we've been accustomed to. But they did severely limit the mechanics to which we have access, which is a mixed blessing. Lets us see things we wouldn't otherwise, but limits are fun.
That was interesting. I'll get this under a scope. Come back in a few hours. I'll have an analysis for you.
For some reason, that unlocks the trophy Half-Truths. I believe that is the halfway point of the game, roughly. There are 28 missions, and that might have been the 14th. I can see no other reason to give that specific moment an achievement, so seems possible. And Dr. Raglan said, don't bother him for a few hours. Alex is very impatient. A few minutes will have to do.
We need a host the parasite can infest. This host will produce antibodies. These antibodies are vital for your restoration, Alex. Take this syringe, locate the correct hunter by genetic type, and inject it. If you inject it and consume it, it should cure you.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
When has Alex ever heard that before? It's a confusing statement.
Aircraft has a DNA sensor array. I can reconfigure it to find the hunter I need.
So, because this particular helicopter can sense hunters, we need to learn how to fly helicopters. Nice to finally have the excuse. And to eat Captain Marcus Graves.
Piloting a Grey Goose is a tough job. Swinging a 25,000-pound heli down to safe touchdown on 7th Avenue, now that is another thing altogether. Lucky I'm just that damn good.
I'd be willing to call that cutscene entirely unnecessary. Could have just given us the upgrade. However, Captain Marcus Graves happens to be the first target that you can eat in the 6th sequence. So, that's what we just unlocked. We can now grab a bunch of new Web of Intrigue targets. Lucky me, looking forward to it. I've eaten all the targets that are available to us at the moment. We'll take a look at some of those once I've completed... Uh-oh, another mission. Not that button, though. Fly in our first chopper. Now, a hilarious thing about this helicopter is that it's so important for the storyline. Whenever you get into it, it's at full health, no matter what has happened to it before. So this one took a rocket launcher, just straight dead on, and I punched it with my super fists. So now it's on fire, but also at full health. So we get to fly it around, trailing smoke all over the place, leaving chemtrails all over New York City, and it's still totally uninjured. I find that very funny. They could have patched that out for the Xbox version. At least, like, giving it a full cosmetic heal at the moment you stepped into it. But I'm glad they did not fix it, because I enjoy it too much. Now, we have to do target practice. Lock on to a viral detector. Fire some machine guns at it. They're useless. The lock-on system is pretty bad. Worse than it is with all the other vehicles, so... swap to the missiles, which are a little more accurate. For example, I don't have to change the entire direction of the chopper to hit that second viral detector. In the tanks, it was RB to fire your alt weapon, right trigger to fire your main weapon. With this, the right bumper switches which weapon you have active, even though you only have 2 weapons. So you have the 2 buttons, there's no reason to have a switch weapon button, as demonstrated by the tank controls, but they changed it just to be confusing. Maybe it's to throw off your game so that you're in Alex's mindset. Because he has to completely change up what he's doing relative to driving a tank. Those skills are not transferable. Oh, I ran into a building. It jumped right out in front of me, I swear. We got a lot of signal strength very, very quickly. And there we go. Beautiful. We'll scan it for a while, even though we've already locked onto it.
Bingo.
And we'll shoot this hunter for a while. Or try to, at least. Hunters are pretty fast. Luckily, it's impossible to kill this hunter. So, we'll launch a helicopter into a crowded street. Not our problem anymore. We'll consider it a donation. Do not fall off. Get back up here.
Man, I hope this works.
Thing is, that hunter literally could not fall off for plot reasons. So it just kinda, it slowly backs up while it's doing its in pain animation. And that always makes it walk up to the edge but never fall off. And then it gets really hard to grab while it's wiggling around on the edge. That's what happened there. It's exactly what happened in my practice run as well. It's probably what happens almost every time anyone plays this mission. The Army should definitely have more of those virus detection helicopters. Those things were pretty effective. Like, if they just had a thing that could fly around the city and track Alex's precise position, that would be way better than the UAVs that have to happen to be in our position for a super long time before they do anything. We learned how to body slam hunters. This one I have to legitimately fight. Charged attack, still pretty effective. And he's got the cure loaded into him. We eat the cure, we should be all set. No animation required, just tumor gone.
I'm back.
The cure was so powerful, it earned us a bunch of new powers. I do mean a bunch. We just unlocked 18 new upgrades. And we now have armor. Alex is a common rider, or any of a number of other Sentai. Although, of course, he looks like a villain because he's dark and edgy. Oh yeah, the darkness gives Jackie Estacado that same armor. Forgot about that. But that is exactly true. There we go. Suited in armor, and we have the blade weapon. The blade completely obsoletes the claws that we started with. Basically the same, the attack itself is a little slower, but it's dramatically more powerful than the claws. The blade is really, really good. And the armor completely obsoletes the shield that I never liked anyway. The armor dramatically reduces the damage we take while we're wearing it. However, it stops us from doing parkour and some of our other more agile moves. So we can't climb away from enemies, we can't jump nearly as high.
Withdraw to search patterns golf. Command says close
It
down.
bears many limits. But if you're just like stuck in a room, fighting a bunch of stuff, it is essential to slap on that armor. So now, if I press down, turn into an alien. If I press up, I bring out my blade. I also bring out all my other weapons. I have almost everything unlocked, except for this. And we're like halfway through the game. It's kind of nice of them to give us most of the game to use our various powers. But, as the trade-off, they inundate us with powers and don't give us enough time to actually use them at the time of their acquisition. They might have wanted to parcel them out a bit longer. But since we have so many upgrade points, well over 1 million once again, let's see what we've unlocked. Stealth consume boost. Patsy is a hilarious one. We can accuse others of being Zeus if we are in military disguise. And it's cheap enough at 100,000 evolution points. We can Patsy even better. I should probably go learn how to do airstrikes at some point. Helicopters upgradable, armored vehicles upgradable. But artillery strikes are theoretically useful. Problem is I cannot track down who has the ability in order to go find it and eat it. I might have to eat a lot of people before I find that specific ability. Now, Open Palm Slam opens access to the Critical Pain Devastator. So I might as well pick that up. And it's performed by a nice, simple square plus circle. Those are opposite sides of the face buttons, if you aren't familiar. All to spend 500,000 points on Critical Mass. Hold square plus circle. It's not easy to do, but it's got a pretty big payoff. Yeah, I can afford... No, we'll go with the Health Boost Mass. Health Boost Max. For another 500,000 evolution points. And finally, top off the sprint speed. We'll get the final jump upgrade soon enough. But they're finally charging enough for upgrades that I cannot afford them. There's a ton of powers that I can now buy. Longshot grab might be a priority as well, because that will help us skyjack the helicopters. A famous move here in Prototype, using the whip arm to grab a helicopter and steal it. Inarguably, a very cool move. Not something many games have permitted you to do. I feel like Just Cause may have allowed that specific use case for some of its ridiculous weaponry. I'm surprised I hadn't previously found some of these landmarks. So we did 2 missions, and they were both pretty long. Then we got a bunch of new upgrades. Unfortunately, there's nowhere to really use them. Most of the side quests require us to get in a tank. Hence why a tank is parked right next to that. So tragically, I'm just not allowed to use the blade that I just unlocked. Suppose we'll get our fill of it when we return. But for now, we got webs to de-intrigue. Quite a few of them, in fact. The next sequence is 24 targets. So Captain Eric Lim and Steven Yarish were the 2 that unlocked Sequence 5 in the first place. So we've seen those. We have not seen the other 21 of the cutscenes. Let's start now with a little exploration of the character of Karen Parker.
Karen, let me help you. We're all in very deep here. There's only one way out. Cooperation. If you assist us, you're free and clear. A ticket anywhere you want and a top-level assignment. And if you don't, there's nothing I can do for you. Listen, Karen. Whatever he is now, he's not the man you knew. He's something else.
I want a lawyer. Parker. Karen. Wait here, please.
No need to. I forgot something. I need to grab it before they lock us out.
Wait here.
Parker, Karen, employee 218, attempting to enter into main lab.
Hey, stop! Halt!
Aaron was coerced into betraying us, working against us entirely, for that matter. And she was sort of a rebel. I don't know what the point of this was, because she did end up falling back in line with Blacklight, as we saw. Black Watch. Blacklight is the virus. So I don't know what she was doing when she ran off, because eventually she was caught and put back in line. There should be one more Karen Parker web of intrigue around here somewhere, but it is not sequentially this next one. I don't know what they were doing with the organization, but it is less than ideal. Also, I was just playing the Xbox version. Navigating the web in the Xbox version is much smoother. Like, switching between nodes is way faster. It's easier to target which node you want to go to. They changed something in the background, and it made the web of intrigue harder to navigate. Not sure why. Anyway, let's have it tell us some new, unrelated stories to what we just saw. And obviously, they had to save this one for Sequence 5 because you don't unlock it until after you see that Karen has betrayed you. Let's see what else they were saving for this part of the game.
Oh, what the hell is this shit? Looks like paprika stinks like ass.
Stow it and get those tanks loaded on the chopper. Whatever it is, you better get used to it. They're spraying it over the city and us.
Oh, hell.
Sir, are we gonna pull this one out of the fire?
I don't give a shit if it's Hope, Two Bluff, New York, or fucking DC. We burn out the infection until it's done, whatever the cost.
Sir.
New York ain't shit in the face of the other option. Just burn it. Just fucking burn it. Burn it all until it's clean.
You could eat this stuff, and it wouldn't do a thing.
Well, how the hell are they going to field this stuff?
Just like Agent Orange.
So he's swinging behind the plane as it's trying to limp across the Hudson.
Yeah.
And it's waggling its wings like, don't shoot! I had tone like a mile out.
Boom!
This weapon is to be given the highest priority. I want it in the field yesterday.
We're producing it as fast as we can. The Harlem facility is getting up to speed as we speak.
Good. We may have just caught a break. Dismissed.
Just give me rough projections on Marine casualties.
Approximately 1,000 to 2,500.
Total?
No, sir. Per week.
Well, they'd come in just as happy as you please. Hell, they'd roll up the damn sleeves for you.
What were you injecting him with? And when was this?
That was the summer of 1963. Damn it if I know what it was. All I know is I didn't want it injected into me.
I've seen this footage before.
But you weren't paying attention. Watch it again. He uses the code to open the door right after consuming the target. That code was only known to 3 people. What if Zeus is collecting minds like a child collects moths? What if he has access to everything anyone he consumes has seen, done, or heard? This would explain several things. Its knowledge of Blackwatch tactics, its ability to pilot aircraft in armor, something Mercer had no training in, as well as its uncanny skill in rooting out sleeper personnel. This would also be very, very bad for all of us at Blackwatch.
Sir, we've re-established contact with the target.
You screwed me, McMullen.
Is this Alex? End this. Come in. Now.
Why didn't you tell me where this sample came from?
I couldn't, Alex. I couldn't risk it.
Yeah, well, you fucked up.
What's the word on the new round of test subjects?
Sir, they're testing off the charts. No ill effects at present. No evidence of the unmodified virus.
Prep them for field deployment ASAP.
Sir, I don't think we're ready.
You're not paid to think.
Everything else here is a dead end, which we just unlocked in Sequence 6, so I haven't eaten any of them. But it looks like they found a way to perhaps give Blackwatch soldiers the sort of stuff that has made Alex into a super soldier. And also there was this stinks like ass Agent Orange stuff that they're spreading across the city, which was also apparently implied to be some kind of weapon in this memory. So the cancer's a weapon, the Agent Orange is a weapon, all the viruses that were loose in the city were intended to be weapons. Everything's a weapon, and everything going wrong right now can be traced back to Blacklight. And specifically, the Hope, Idaho incident from the 60s. We'll see if we can't get to the bottom of that as we dig further into Day 8 of Prototype.